Welcome to Stand With Us. I'm Roz Rothstein, I'm your host, and today we're here with Yael Lerman, who is the director of our legal department. This is a relatively new department that we started at Stand With Us, and it was a lot started because of all the propaganda and the lies and the activists who promote propaganda and lies against Israel have been crossing the line and doing some illegal things, and sometimes students and community members don't really know when the line is crossed, and they don't know if they have a case, if they've been bullied on a campus, or if they've been bullied in a community. And so it's really important that we as an organization and that we as a Jewish community at large are helping people identify when the BDS proponents are crossing the line and bullying people. Once again, BDS, Boycott, Divestment, and Sanction. It's an initiative that has pulled all of the anti-Israel people together, and they work through it to bring a divestment campaign to a college campus. But in the course of it, very often they cross the line. So when do they cross the line? When don't they cross the line? When is it free speech? And when is it hate speech? And when is it wrong? And so that is why we opened up our legal department, headed up by Yael. But first, Yael, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where did you graduate from?
So I'm a native of Los Angeles. Then I went to Columbia University for undergrad and to NYU Law School for my law degree. I was at Boies Schiller, a law firm in New York, for a few years doing litigation. And then I went to the ADL, where I worked in their national legal department doing civil rights law, and then came to Stand With Us, where I've been ever since.
Thank you for that. So what exactly made you want to work for Stand With Us in the first place?
I was doing civil rights work and looked around and saw that the atmosphere, particularly on campuses, was changing. And it didn't seem to me like there was enough use of legal resources to combat that. And so I called Stand With Us to see if they would be interested in having me join the team. Initially, I joined in the research department. And then a few years later, you and Jerry said that you thought it was time to establish a legal department specifically to combat the anti-Israel activity on campuses.
So now Jerry, she mentioned Jerry. Jerry is my husband. He's also the COO of Stand With Us and a co-founder. And it was originally Jerry's idea to send out a blast to people around the world and find out if there are people who wanted to help and help in a legal way, in a pro bono way, to see if there's a place for them where they can work and help students and community members when things cross the line and need legal assistance. Mm-hmm. So we sent out this newsletter.
We sent out this email blast. I think within 24 hours we got hundreds of responses from lawyers from around the world. And it took us months to go through everything and whittle it down to lawyers who really were qualified and a good fit for a legal committee. And then we started. We started in January of 2014.
So I just want to underscore this amazing thing. When we sent out a call for help to lawyers that care about Israel and that want to donate a little time because they care about Israel, hundreds of people responded. Yeah. Hundreds. There were so many responses. Thank you out there if you were one of the people that responded. There were so many responses that you had to spend quite a while.
I think it was 4 months.
4 months going through all the responses to sift out who would be a good fit for Stand With Us. And now you have over 100.
Yeah, we have over 130. And one thing that we're looking actively to do is to expand it, particularly in Canada. Because we are being inundated with requests for legal help from students in Canada, and we would like to grow the pro bono network there as well.
So, do you understand this? This is like it's an extraordinary piece of information. We have now over 130 pro bono attorneys working for us and standing ready in corners around the United States and now in Canada to be able to help students and community members. I think it's 60% students. Is
That's
that
correct.
your figure? 60% of the work is directed at students because that's where the help is needed the most, and then 40% to community, maybe faculty also?
Community, well, I would include professors and faculty in the campus statistic, the 60%, and then 40% is community activists as well as defamation issues, intellectual property questions, corporate questions, even trust and estate questions. We really utilize the help of lawyers in pretty much every specialty there is.
So there they stand, ready to help, these pro bono attorneys, and you have different kinds of incidents that come up, and it could be in Chicago, it could be in Philadelphia, it could be in Southern or Northern California. You have these incidents that come up, and right away, can you tell us what that process looks like?
Sure. I think also one thing that you mentioned that's important to emphasize is that before we established the legal department, it was important to us not to duplicate resources. And so we looked around and said, what are the other legal groups out there? What is the work they're doing, and what is the niche we can fill? And what we saw is that there really is the need to help on the grassroots level. The students, community members, professors, on the grassroots level who need legal help, whose cases aren't going to make it to the national papers necessarily. And when we stepped in to fill that need, it was tremendous. And I think evidence of that is the fact that in 2016 alone, we had over 200 separate requests for legal resources and help, the majority of which our pro bono network helped to fulfill.
Wow. So are you able to keep up so far with the need?
We do. The legal department, it consists of me. There's another attorney, the associate director, who also works tremendously hard. And we also just brought in a lawyer in Israel, in the Israel office, who's helping over there. And so we're growing and we're working. And thanks to our pro bono lawyers, we're doing our job.
I'm sure that you're going to continue to grow, and we're going to hear about a couple of cases, actual cases that you're free to be able to tell us about when we return here at the Stand With Us show on JLTV. So don't go anywhere. See you in a minute. Welcome back to Stand With Us on JLTV. We're here with Yael Lerman, who is the director of our legal department at Stand With Us, relatively new, because we needed it. We needed a legal department, and the more we have it, the more we realize how much we need it and that it needs to grow. So if you're liking the story of the legal department and you want to support it, you can. Go to standwithus.com and hit donate and help us with our legal department and help it grow. So now we have over 130 pro bono attorneys working with you and the legal department and doing great things out there. So I wanted to hear first about the process. How does it work? How do you guys work? How do you find out there's a problem? People come to you, and then what do you do? And then let's hear a couple of cases that you're free to be able to tell us about.
Sure. I guess a typical process would be something I dealt with yesterday, where a student, a pro-Israel student at a university campus will face some sort of anti-Israel activity that crosses the line into illegal activity, or he's unsure if it crosses the line and wants help. That student will then reach out to usually to a campus coordinator or someone who will then refer him to the legal department. We then consult with the student to see if there is an issue that we can help on. I try to always find a way to help because I want students to feel empowered, regardless of if there is a legal issue there, to help and support them. And then if there is a legal issue, very often what I'll do is then look to see is there a lawyer in that person's geographical region with a legal specialty that fits to consult with on the case. I do this for two reasons. One, because just for the resources to get the help from the attorney, but also I think it's important that attorneys be involved in helping to support Israel. So in the case I'm thinking about yesterday, I reached out to an attorney. This actually involved a criminal matter in which there had been illegal activity against Israel on campus that involved criminal charges. So I reached out to the attorney to find out information on how we can support the student in this. I got the information I needed, conveyed it to the student, and now the student is able to proceed. And that would be a typical example of the process.
I suppose the first question is this a legal issue? You know,
Right.
Did something cross the line?
Correct.
Is there a case?
Exactly.
Are there damages? Did they break the law? So there's a lot of legwork in trying to figure out what the law is on that campus.
Exactly.
Did they break a law?
So I think it's really important here to mention that Stand With Us as a 501c3 organization is education only. We are not going to conduct litigation. We're not going to give direct legal advice. Our pro bono lawyers can do that, or we can refer out to an organization, another legal organization that can. What we do at Stand With Us is we provide resources, support, and help. So yes, exactly. First, we have to determine, is there a legal issue? Sometimes there isn't, and in those cases, often it's just an issue of a student needing support on campus or a community member wanting support. And in that case, I would refer them to another department at Stand With Us that can help them give that support, be it our campus department, our high school department, our research department. If it does involve a legal issue, then I will bring in a pro bono lawyer. If it doesn't involve a legal issue that requires direct legal advice, but legal resources, for instance, we have a Know Your Rights booklet that informs people what are your legal rights, and we can help them understand. We will then send that to the person.
So that's something new that we have at Stand With Us, a legal rights. It's called Know Your Rights, Know Your Rights, and it kind of reviews the different categories of what could possibly go wrong and what they can do. Your point about Stand With Us not being a litigation organization is very important. We're an education organization. But that said, you're kind of a first line of defense.
Right.
Let me take a look into this and decide where to put this student, where to connect this faculty member, what kind of attorney this person needs. So
Exactly.
it's kind of the first
It's like a filtering. Students have told us that and professors have told us as well, that when problems happen, sometimes they have no idea where to go for legal help. And then once the matter hits the press, they're inundated with offers of help from the Jewish community, and they still have no idea where to go. So we try to solve that. We're the first line that people come to, and then we help refer them or give them the help if we can give it ourselves. I'm just thinking about some of the cases that have hit the national press regarding anti-Israel activity on campus in the last 2 years. I don't think there was one case I can think of where we weren't the first organization behind the scenes that was reached out to for help, and we helped then connect the complainants, the people who needed help, with their legal representation.
That's pretty impressive. I'm impressed, and I'm part of this organization as a founder, as a CEO. I'm the CEO of Stand With Us. I don't think I've mentioned that, but I do always get impressed with the details of each of our departments and how actually it works specifically when something goes wrong. So it is very impressive what you have done and what you have built. In the last very few years. It's like 2.5 years or something?
2 years, yeah.
2 years. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And we're very proud of you. So I just
Thank
want
you
you to know that. So thank you. Thank you for all that. So I'd like to get into some real life examples of where, a student contacts you or a faculty member or someone. Can you give us the beginning, and then I suppose we'll take a break and come back and hear the rest of it, but let's start the story.
Yes, I can think of one story, which is also a good example of how so much of Stand With Us's work is behind the scenes. We're about empowering the student or whoever needs the help, and not about necessarily putting our name out there. There's a boy that I'm thinking of. His name's Jesse Arm, a good kid from a good family. Grew up, he was on the basketball team at his high school, went to college. He joined the board of his Hillel. He joined the student government, got a seat on student government. was walking through his quad last year, and he saw a mock checkpoint, people dressed up as Israeli soldiers, and he went up to engage them in dialogue quite calmly. What he didn't know was that he was recorded. The anti-Israel activists took the video to the student government and demanded that Jesse be thrown out of student government for essentially standing up for Israel.
I know the story, and I know that there's a lot to tell about it. Jesse did come to us for help. I want to, though, peel the onion around it, and we'll do that when we come back.
Okay.
The story of Jesse and how he really did need help and got it from Stand With Us. So don't go away. We'll tell you more about Jesse when we come back. Welcome back to Stand With Us. We're here with Yael Lerman. She is the director of our legal department, and we're talking about a story, a real life story, about Jesse, who attended and still attends Michigan. He had a seat on the student council, very active, a great kid, but engaged some anti-Israel students who had a big street theater thing on campus that was anti-Israel, and he engaged them. He dared to pose a few questions and say a few things to them. He was caught on tape, and deliberately taped, and then they took the tape and tried to get him thrown out of the student council based on his having a conversation at this street theater on his campus. So he contacted us.
So that's exactly right. So he contacted Stand With Us for help. Within hours, we found him pro bono legal counsel in Michigan. Working together with the pro bono legal counsel, we helped Jesse in his drafting of the statement that he was going to read at his hearing to determine if he should be thrown out of student government. One of the goals was to make sure he didn't say anything incriminating, which is odd because he didn't do anything wrong. He couldn't have said anything incriminating, but still, we had the lawyer help him in looking over the statement. And then Jesse had a hearing. In the end, Jesse was exonerated on all charges. He was found not guilty, as is the right outcome. He did nothing wrong. Right. But Jesse and others have told us that without the legal help, he would not have felt as confident going into the hearing, and he doesn't know if the outcome would have been the same.
That's the issue that we're facing right now. Jesse is a symbol of bullying that is going on, where the free speech rights of one side, the anti-Israel side, is clear. They can shout down a speaker, they can do almost anything. But when our side will stand up to it, oftentimes they have a lot of grief, and they may be bullied, and they may be targeted on the campus, and we need to be there for them. We must be there to step in and stand by their sides if they're going to be brave enough and courageous enough to confront these things. We must be there to help them. I don't think it's a question.
That's
so
exactly
we
right.
need to support your department.
Thank you.
We need to do that. You need to grow. You need more pro bono attorneys, because the key to this thing, the key to this formula, is to have a pro bono attorney available near the university or near the incident that takes place in the community, so that you don't have to have someone have to look into the law of that state or the law of that school. You can hand it to a person that's close.
And it's key that they have the right expertise. A divorce lawyer would have helped me in this case.
Right.
It had to be a person with the skills necessary to help Jesse.
On free speech issues and...
So when it comes to campus, most litigators are able to help. But sometimes campus even involves IP issues. So anyone who's an intellectual property could help. I think what's key is to have as broad a base as possible, because you never know what the issue is going to be.
Are you able to share with us another case? How about that one you told me about with the high school?
Sure. So that was a case in Texas. with the Houston Public School District. A student named Eliav, also a phenomenal kid, very pro-Israel and very involved at his public high school, noticed that a fellow student had posted an anti-Semitic cartoon on social media. It had a caricature of a Jew, and it had all the different various anti-Semitic stereotypes that you generally see. The hook nose, Jews are controlling the media. Eliav went to his school administration, pointed out the cartoon, said this is against school policy, and he was deliberately ignored. Not just deliberately ignored, he was told that Eliav was told he should be more sensitive to these other students' concerns. Eliav is Jewish. Eliav has parents who are Israeli. And Eliav felt that he wasn't supported by the administration. Fast forward a few weeks later, it was International Day at his high school. Jewish students had set up an Israel table with Israeli flags, different things. Anti-Israel students came. They tore down the Israeli flags. In their place, they put up Palestinian and Iranian flags. They ran around the school with a huge, tremendously huge Palestinian flag, and they wore scarves that said in Arabic, Jerusalem, we're coming for you. It's a Hamas scarf. Hamas is a designated terrorist organization that currently rules Gaza. Eliav again went to his school administration, said there was vandalism, we felt harassed, we felt threatened. And Eliav was told, you need to make yourself more likable, and you need to better understand the oppressed people. Eliav...
I just want to stop you there for a moment. I mean, that in itself, that kind of response from the administration of a school so that students don't feel safe is quite extraordinary. So only one side gets to feel safe, only one side gets to bully and do whatever they want. The other side has to modify their behavior.
And take it.
And take it. Just take it.
Yeah.
So clearly that's got to be actionable.
So Eliav went to a local Jewish organization and asked for help once he saw that the administration wasn't doing anything. And he was told that there's no case here. 6 months later, Eliav was at a Stand With Us event. And he heard us speaking that legal help is available. And he asked me, do I think that we could help in his case? I said, absolutely. He said, well, I'm graduating in 3 weeks. And does it help that for the last 6 months, I've kept evidence of everything that happened? I have screenshots. I have email records. I have recordings of conversations. I have everything you need for a case. And I said, yeah, that will help. Again, the first thing I did was find pro bono counsel in Texas who understood how the school district works. We put a grievance together within days. We filed the grievance 2 days before Eliav's graduation so that there was still standing to file. And on the first level, we lost. We lost because how the school district works is that the principal has the choice to say whether the allegations are true or not. And the principal said that Eliav made everything up. So we appealed, and we won on appeal. And Eliav won everything that he asked for, which means that there was a change in policy. There was a new understanding that Jewish students have a place to turn to if they need help. And Eliav felt empowered and felt that real change happened.
Stand With Us helped me a lot when I was having a lot of issues with anti-Semitism in my high school and anti-Israel sort of bigotry. And Stand With Us has always been there for me. And when I was having problems, I was literally getting calls from the Stand With Us regional coordinators every single day asking me how I'm doing. When I had issues with legal matters, I had the head of the legal department calling me and emailing me, making sure I was okay. The organization operates on a much more grassroots and personal level that no other organization does. And it's really remarkable what they've managed to achieve while maintaining that personal touch while also spreading it out to the broader community and making such a global impact.
Wow. So this is a symbol, once again, these two cases that we just learned about are symbols of the kinds of cases that come before you and that you need to hook to all the pro bono wonderful people who are out there. Thank you if you're a pro bono attorney and work with Yael in this department. So thank you for coming on
Thank you for having
Stand
me.
With Us. Thank you for joining us today on this very interesting show. And we'll see you next time on Stand With Us.